Okay, this lesson for the Koine project class, it's been a few days, several days actually. I've been with laryngitis and it's been quite frustrating. So I'll just cover a brief lesson. This one concerns the topic, theological topic, ontology. You might have heard the ontological argument. Perhaps you've heard of Dr. William Lane Craig and other, let's say, theologians, philosophers, expound extensively on the ontological argument. It refers to the nature of being, the nature of being. So we're just going to look at a Koine text. And before I get there, we'll go Genesis 5:3 says, Adam begat a son in his own likeness after his image. And Genesis 1:27 says, God created man in his own image. So we have that quite established in Scriptures. So let's go ahead and look at this part of the text. And we have this conditional particle. This is a if and it is, if and it is so. Determined condition. Usually we translate it since, but that's not always considered best by people. And this is therefore. And I omitted the you yourselves, so let me put that up there. He makes you yourselves. There we go. Getting a little rusty. And then this is poneroi. It's translated evil in the English Bible. And so we'll just say evil ones for the sake of this lesson. There's another word for evil, kakos. We can look at that later. That's how it's in the English just for the moment. This is while being. Now you notice we've talked about this before, but notice this is the word from which this is derived. O-N-T, as in ontology. That's 3 letters right there. So that's why I wanted to use this lesson for a moment. While being evil ones or wicked ones. So Jesus said, since or if and it's so, therefore, since this is the condition, your nature of being, you yourself specifically, while being evil ones, you all have noticed and are always noticing and here to be giving this is good gifts to, this is of you all, or as we would say, your particular children, to the children of you all, or your particular children. But now what we can notice is quite indicative is I had an article brought to my attention entitled, Is the Doctrine of Total Depravity Totally Depraved? And the accusation in it was that if that doctrine, however they defined it, and I'll include a link to the article and perhaps some excerpts from it, but they were saying that God would be guilty of creating evil people. And of course, I didn't read all of it, but this doesn't seem to hold consistency or correlate well with this text. This text is, again, often, as we've learned, how the Bible can sometimes disappoint us. If we want some total depravity to mean total inability, this doesn't support that. And then if we want total ability of man without any type of nature of our being somehow negatively affected by Adam, we then would have a problem, because Jesus said, now it does take excuse away. If under this condition in the study of the reality of the nature of being, and we see the nature of our being is said by Jesus, the one in whom the fullness of the Godhead dwells bodily, the one who created all things and not anything came to be without him, then he said unashamedly and unreservedly that while being in this condition, nature of being in this condition, evil, as the English says, rather wicked ones, you all have noticed and are always noticing to be giving to your own particular children good gifts. And that in that text, he had said, you don't give them a stone when they ask for bread. You don't give them a serpent when they ask for a fish. So that part of man in the image of God is retained, that ability to be noticing. And this part of Adam, after the fall, after his sin, through which and by which sin entered into the world and death followed, this occurred. So we have both realities being discussed, and we have both realities acknowledged in Genesis. So we really don't have a contradiction. It's just, as we've learned, when we go to the Koine text, it doesn't really, it's not by design intended to support what we might have in between our ears or have pre-understood or according to some priming. But this gives the rationale. This is Jesus speaking, the Creator. He's the one that's saying this, and he's saying so that if a person is noticing to be giving good gifts to their own particular children, then this insight, this oida, it's from ado, that word we've spoken of quite often, ado. Then it'd be very difficult. That's why it seems that all of us would have a difficult time justifying ourselves before men and especially before God. It would be, futile, because Jesus is the one that's revealed the nature of our being, poneroi. You can look that word up for a more extensive study. And then he's the one that said, in spite of that, let's say, in spite of that condition, we're noticing. So regardless of our nurture or nature or both, our culture, our habituation, our any other circumstance we want to assign responsibility for our conduct, it will not nullify the acknowledgement that we have the insight to give good gifts. And notice the quality there. So we have evil and good mentioned, which is why I left that English word there. Evil and good mentioned, and yet insight to be giving, and it's a continuous. So this is not something that we notice and then no longer notice. So this is quite an interesting text. But that if there's anything in us, the nature of our being that can be characterized this, it would come from the image of Adam. And since there's something in us that is we have noticed and are always noticing to be giving good gifts to our particular children, that would be in accordance to God's own image. So that's quite interesting. And it as a factor in the study of ontology, the research into the field about the nature of being. So I'll include that article and read it again myself, because it implied that if a person were by nature being wicked, then that would fall back on God. But the text doesn't seem to leave out Adam. The Bible doesn't omit Adam. And then after Adam's fall, this occurred. So this would be from Adam. This would be from God. So that's quite a good lesson. It's interesting. I haven't done that much research, but I'll cut the lesson short, preserve my voice for this Lord's Day, approaching Lord's Day and the Resurrection Sunday. And thank you all for those of you praying for me, and keep up the good work. But this is a good article, and the link I'll include will give you an opportunity to review that for yourself and just make any comments or questions you might have. Thank you.